Welcome to Diversity Conversations, where we engage in thought-provoking dialogue to identify leadership solutions to today's most challenging conflicts. Stream live each week, Saturday 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Hosted by Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Strategist and CEOs Eric Ellis and Tommy Lewis. Join us and add your voice to this engaging diversity conversation.
Good morning, Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, the United States, and the world. My name is Eric Ellis, and I'm the president and CEO of Integrity Development Corporation. And I'm joined today by my good friend and brother,
Tommy Lewis, president and CEO of Make It Plain Consulting. Good morning, Eric.
That was a nice dramatic start there, Tommy. I appreciate that, man. Tell me, how are you, man? How things going?
Eric, things are fantastic. I am in a beautiful, beautiful location with a lot of sun. So apologies to you and our community for having to wear the shades. Otherwise, I'll be squinting. Hey, it's still 9:30 in the morning here in this part of the country. And for others joining us outside of the country, good morning. It's a beautiful, beautiful Saturday morning.
Yes, it is, man. And it started off raining this morning, but I think it's going to break into some sun because I got a tea time at noon with my brother. And I want to make sure that that we get out there, man. And so I'm looking forward to that. You know, golf, I had done it for 17 years, Tommy, 6 days a week. And I say that my wife prayed me off the golf course. She don't like it when I say that. But she went above my head. And literally the last 3 years or so, man, I haven't been playing much golf just because work has just been, crazy busy. But that's one of the things we're going to talk about today is some lessons from golf that I think may connect this for ordinary people who may, in fact, even think that golf has got nothing to do with them. It's just a game for older white gentlemen. Tommy, tell us how your week was, man.
So my week was riddled with ups and downs. And the downs weren't too bad, Eric. The ups were fantastic. I'll just speak on a couple of downs, is that we had a great opportunity. We've been working with a client or a potential client, and we won the business, and the contract had to go through legal, right? And that process on their end was about 3 to 5 weeks. Nothing too unusual. And then they sent us the final contract pretty much at the end of the day, like 6 p.m. on last Friday. And unfortunately, that email got buried throughout the course of the week. I didn't see it at all. Right. And so the potential client, a good guy, real good guy, he said, "Hey, did you receive the contract?" And I was like, "No," because there have been a number of different things we were receiving, signing off on, returning.
Right.
And he's like, "No, the final contract, we're there now." And I looked back, and there it was, unopened. I was like, "Man, I called him. My bad."
Right.
And now, these days, Eric, easily 200 emails a day, easily. Some of it's spam. So I was able to ensure that we got that signed, got that return, so we can do business for the next 3 years. And that's one of the good things too, is that this was not an urgent ask to kind of check the box for 60 minutes.
Right.
This is a relationship. And so that's one of the good things of last week, Eric, that we were able to solidify and return to some of our long-lasting relationships. These are clients and partners that had stepped back because of COVID.
Right.
And they're in an educational space. Right. And they said, "Hey, we're not doing that in-person training. We're not coming together." And 4 or 5 folks last week followed up and said, "Hey, we're back on." And I'm like, always humbled and very gracious, Eric, that people, not necessarily companies, but people remember us.
Right.
Because it's the people that makes the decisions, not the company. Right. So that's how my week been. Those lows are not lows at all, right? In fact, I'm in a warm weather environment right now. I'm going to be doing some golfing, and
Yeah.
that work is going to pay off for me to see if I can donate a few balls and then make some few strokes as well.
That's right. That's right. Well, you always, man, bring to us a wonderful degree of transparency and vulnerability that is going to be a part of the message that we'll share today, Tommy. I always appreciate that, man. But those are things that are not uncommon to man. We all are experiencing and delivering those kinds of things, man. And so it's great when we have the kind of relationship and trust and confidence with our clients that they work with us through those human experiences, because we had some this week as well with a staff person that moved on, and that created some holes, and some gaps. But our clients are graciously, they work with us. We become real transparent around things that have occurred. But this week, Tommy, I'll tell you the thing that I just looked at this morning, man, as I left my house, is I went out my front door. And I don't know if you've ever had freeloaders, Tommy, that will try to join into your crib. You bought the crib, you built the crib, but then you get freeloaders. We had some of them, squirrels, and now I just learned this morning, raccoons that were living in the house, Tommy. They were literally living in the ceiling. And so we got these critter pest control people that came out, man, and caught about 3 squirrels over the last few days. A mother squirrel, and we're hearing less running around. And today, I looked right into the eyes of a raccoon, big as he is.
Wow.
Right out the ceiling of the living room. Just ran out for a bite to eat. Tommy, cutting corners. Now, the squirrels know they're supposed to go to the woods to get their nuts. But they took a U-turn, a shortcut to the peanut butter, and then got me. So I am grateful that finally we have bought a service that seems to be working, and we're getting some of our freeloaders off of us. The other thing, Tommy, that is, I'm still looking in his eyes. He's just up there in the cage like, can you get me out of here? I mean, he ain't even scared. He's like, I live in the neighborhood. I'm your neighbor. I know your voice. You know me. Let me know. I'm like, are you crazy? You're stuffed in the cage, man. He couldn't trap him the first couple times, Tommy. He kept getting in and getting the peanut butter and getting out. Because he's so big, I guess his tail was still at the back. So it couldn't trap him. So he'd get the peanut butter and then out. Now, he got them. Other things this week, Tommy, are continuing to enjoy working with the CEO, man, that's moving full steam ahead with his organization. We are delivering more technology-based solutions to them too, Tommy. So I'm so glad that some of our team are outstanding at building technology-based and web-based solutions, man, that help to support the coaching and the DEI planning that we're doing with our clients. We've developed this tool that we call CARS DEI Leadership Plan, where it's a digital tool where they can identify. CARS stands for sort of your commitments, your actions or activities that you do to support those commitments, then the results that you achieved, and then any stories that came out of the work that you're doing. So what we do is based upon the research that we've done with them, Tommy, because we did the annual inclusion survey, we did the focus group follow-up, and then we did the systems and processes inventory. Based upon what we identified, we give them sort of commitments that we want them to make. We give them 3 general commitments. It's almost like training wheels. So we give you the commitment. We give you 3 or 4 activities that you can do to support those commitments. And then you've got to fill in either other activities and then sort of results and stories. But then we have 4 through 10. You have a chance to put your own commitments in there. So you can add as many of those as you want. Since we had them do the IDI, we take their IDP results and say, hey, put that in here too. So you have everything in one sort of document, one place. And so we're really excited about being able to track what these leaders are doing. We've got 26 leaders that are completing these, and the CEO is holding accountable for getting those results done. So we're excited about that. Building up new talent. We've got some new people, man, that have joined us. about 3 new people that are coming on board, man, and doing some fantastic things, hitting the ground running. We're doing some additional searches for some of our clients because, we opened up a search diversity sort of search part of our business so that we can help some of our clients who are looking for diverse candidates and say the proverbial, we can't find any out there. We're just having a ball laughing at that one, man. And say, hey, if you can't find them, we can. So we're really excited about that. And I'll tell you, just being able to watch my children each week and what happens in their lives, Tommy, is so fascinating. Eric's out in California, got a job that he loves. And for any parents that might be watching this, sometimes you look at your kids and you wonder if it's going to kick in. And I would say to you, number one, whatever you plant in them, it's in there. And number two, don't force them to stop before they find something that it has a rhythm for them, that it works for them where it no longer really feels like work. And Eric is really, Eric opted out of not trying to go on a vacation with us because he's so committed to his job and he doesn't want anything to interrupt that. He feels like he's paid well. He's in school too, working on his music. So all things are clicking for him and Jillian and Evan and Ethan, man. I just love watching all of them, no matter where they are in that cycle, Tommy. And that cycle, man, just like ours, it goes up and down. But the ups and downs are all of great value.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's great to hear of your updates, obviously, with your family. And I'm so happy, Eric, and thank you for your transparency. My prayers are always with you, your wife, and particularly with your adult children.
Yeah, thank you.
As we know, finding our way is a challenge.
Right.
And I love what you said about that, that tone of finding that rhythm. Kudos to all of your children. As this is just a stepping stone to the next level. Right. They may be here for a few years, 5, maybe even 10 years, and there'll be something else.
Right. And life is the living, Tommy. That's what I told my kids. I said, hey, let me tell you something. Don't miss the beauty of each day. Don't get so focused on the journey and the destination that you miss the day. So each day, I don't care what happened. I don't care how well you succeeded or didn't succeed at the day before. It doesn't even matter. You are alive again. We get to look at each other. And what I want to do is bring to your countenance, your current thinking, the blessings that exist in every single day, that you just get to get up in your right mind most of the time and do whatever you're going to do today and just enjoy that part. If it's nothing but a conversation that we're having, I want you to be encouraged. And I don't want anything to discourage you in a way that you decide to do some crazy things, because that's the times that we're living in, Tommy. That's another thing I want to say to people, man. Don't be so harsh on people and overly judgmental that you don't allow them to experience and appreciate life itself and just the joy of being able to get up. I'm looking out my window right now. I'm not in Florida. I'm here in Westchester. I'm looking out my window and I see these trees. These trees are speaking right back to me, man, that it's a beautiful day to be alive.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to start talking about golf. And I'm going to ask you to sort of just open up and just give a little bit of sense, an overview, a picture of golf, because I know you've studied it a little bit. And then I'm going to begin to what we'd like to do today. For those of you that may not think you're interested, we're actually going to talk about golf principles, philosophies, realities, and then link them to how they relate to everyday life. Go ahead, Tom.
So I first want to start by giving acknowledgement to my late father, Tommy Wood Sr., who introduced me to baseball fan for a number of years, and he was getting into golf, and then he got, I don't know what it was, but he got bitten by this addiction bug about golf.
Right.
So very early on, he got bitten, and he was buying and doing everything golf.
Right.
And I'm still on the baseball diamond, and he invited me out with a couple of his friends. So we had a foursome. And my first time out with him and his friends, I had full baseball everything going on.
Right.
And so it was it was painfully obvious that one, I I wasn't that good in golf, right?
Right.
Early, I mean, first ones.
Oh yeah.
Secondly, is that uh, there was some silent chuckling about me trying to smash the ball too hard. I'm
Right.
rocking back like I'm trying to drive it over the left field fence.
Right.
And my father and his friend, his counterpart, who was a white man, a business partner, they both almost simultaneously, Eric said, slow down,
Right. Mm.
slow down.
Mm.
And so the somewhat fast pace of baseball when you're playing it, I had to translate some of those skills and apply them to golf, which allowed me to slow down and
Mm.
enjoy and learn from the moment,
Mm.
swing by swing, stroke by stroke, etc. And so what I've learned now as one that has been absolutely bitten by
Right.
the golf bug is even more and more so, Eric, the older I get and the more I play golf and managing my own abilities, right, is that just simply slowing down
Mm.
um, helps so much in my mental, physical, emotional, and then the game, right? So putting all of this
Mm.
together provides me the opportunity to focus in that moment, enjoy that moment, and then I can reproduce that moment, which
Mm.
is a miracle. I
Mm.
can recreate
Mm.
that moment of success, and then when I don't recreate it, it's the journey toward that moment again,
Right.
right? So that's what it's been like for me.
That's powerful, man. And that slow down piece is so powerful. Uh, Number one, it's a subjective term, slow down. So when they first say it to us, it's like, slow down. What do you mean? I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not swinging that fast.
right.
And I don't like what you said. And I don't know what that means from where I am. So it's a subjective term. And so it's hard to then understand what that. So some things in life, Tommy, only experience can ultimately teach you.
Yes, sir.
In other words, somebody saying something to that your brain can't understand. So when we're speaking to our children, sometimes we're saying things to them that they don't really understand. Some of that they're going to have to live out in life. The other thing that you said was slow down your life so that you can smell the coffee. One of the
Yeah,
things that I would say about golf is that golf reinforces the notion that the greatest things in life are free.
yeah,
What I didn't understand that I would love most about golf was getting up in the morning when the sun is in the sky and when
yeah,
the dew is on the ground and when the trees are out there and there's a light wind blowing and birds are singing. I don't think there's any other time in my life that I recognize the birds singing than
yeah.
when I start a round of golf, Tommy. And it's all those things that feels like God just giving you a big hug. And so I would say that as we sat back and looked at golf from a distance, it looked like there was nothing in it for us. A
Right.
lot of times, Tommy, in people's lives, they look at other people and what they're doing, and they're assuming that there's nothing there for them or that doesn't relate to me because who I'm looking at sometimes may not look like me. But if
Yeah.
you just take a deep breath and get out into the world and try things, sometimes you'll be surprised that you can fall in love with that which you never even understood or that which you didn't think related to you at all.
Eric, I would add that what you just shared was very impactful. And I do hope that our community revisits this conversation in our early talk with with what Eric just said. And what I heard and how I applied it to my life when I just heard it was that in my holistic life, Eric, I have looked at other people and what they've achieved as far as success, the homes, the cars, the
Right.
finances, the family, all of that stuff. And what I just heard from you was, although I was seeing that success at times, I believe that because I didn't have it in that moment, that I could not be a part of that.
Right.
Right. as I was looking at billionaires and millionaires and even those who made six-figure incomes and all that, like, oh, that's great aspirational goals, but I'm not in that club. I'm not even wanted. I'm not invited.
Right.
Now what I'm learning is that I am finding success and defining what it is for me.
Mhm.
Just like on the golf course, Eric, I'm not always, if not very seldom, am I under par,
Right.
right? I'm
Right.
not a professional golfer, but there are little small things that I have set for my own expectation,
Right.
right? And when I achieve it, I'm good.
Right.
I'm
Right.
good. Now the next few holes or next few days may be lackluster, but I've achieved something right now. So
Right.
I belong in that conversation of success because I said what my success is, regardless of what other people said it was or
Right.
is for me.
Right.
I've achieved it. So
Right.
that's why I think that golf is a great analogy of at one time golf was for a particular demographic, and we'll
Right.
talk about that in a little bit. And then that door opened, and folks came in, many different folks,
Right.
and they begin to set their own standard. They set their
Right.
own expectation, and it wasn't. I'm going to shoot it under par. I'm going to have a perfect day. I'm going to have a perfect business. No, no, it
Right.
wasn't about that perfection,
Right.
right? Sometimes it was about that moment.
Right. I love that. So I start here with the game of golf is unconquerable. And it's a game where you and I have played other sports.
Yep.
Baseball, you've played, basketball, football. Basketball, whenever I went to the court, I was pretty much the same player. And when I got good at it, man, I was working guys, man, and having fun, just being able to be quicker than guys, blowing around guys. But
Yep.
golf's not that way, man. Golf is an up and down game. And literally, so it's like this. And if you're not comfortable with inconsistency, then you don't want to play golf because the game of golf is unconquerable, which means then that you're constantly striving. And I think that life should be like that as well. That life is life. There's a principle of lifelong learning. You should never feel as though I've arrived. I had a golfer tell me this, and I'm gonna open up to you. He said, Eric, never tell anybody that you think you got the game down. He said, man, I was in a tournament. He said, and I shot a 63. And so par in golf is 72. So above par is any score higher than 72. Below par is any score less than 72. And so most people don't shoot their handicap, they shoot above that. So when he said he shot a 63, that's like 9 strokes below par. That's just insane golf. He said on the very same course, on the very next day, he went home, told his wife, I think I got this game down. The very next day, he shot a 91 on the same course. How huge is that, Tommy? A swing.
So I think it's huge for a number of reasons. One, that whatever was happening in the day of that 63, it could be the weather,
Mm,
it could be his mindset,
wow.
it could be his muscle memory and the
Mm,
perfection of his muscle memory.
mm,
It could be his energy,
right.
right? Not just the mindset. What was he thinking? It could be the energy
Right.
of, kind of that, that choo-choo train that's
Yeah.
getting faster and faster and
Yeah.
faster and faster.
Yeah.
That's out of his control, just
Right.
energy. All
Wow.
of that was meshing together, right? And then in the same vein, the next day, same course, uh, the arrogance
Ooh.
that that I know in my head, that arrogance, that
Right. I'm going
energy,
lower than 63 today.
because I haven't figured out I'm going to go low, I'm going to break records, I'm going to be the club champion in
Wow.
one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then at the same time, any given day, we have different energy levels.
Right.
So we cannot always replicate
Mm,
that energy when we had that one day to the next day. And sometimes when we don't have that humility, we think that we can take the exact same energy and do it the same. And then it is a different day with different weather, different climate,
Right.
right? And the second thing I take away from it is the not just his 91 or what I have all the time, 90s and above 100s, is that going from that swing of 63 to 91 can be emotionally humbling and humiliating
Right.
right,
Humbling and humiliating.
at the same time. So it could crush someone if they don't have the fortitude, Eric,
Right.
right? After saying, I got this game figured out,
Right.
right? And then bombing like that,
Mm.
right? We know, Eric, and I'll throw it back over to you. We know people who have thrown clubs in water,
Right.
who have broken clubs,
Right. Wrapped them
who
around
have
trees.
wrapped them around trees to say, yesterday I shot a 63. Today I'm on par to shoot a 91. Not
Right.
on par, 72, on par to shoot a 91.
Right.
And they have completely collapsed,
Right.
right? And the challenge is, do you come back the next day
That's right.
or the next week?
That's right.
And I have found, yes, I come back.
That's right. And
Yeah.
so in golf, a couple things. Number one, you keep your own score.
Yep.
So that's actually so nobody else gets to keep your score. You keep your own score. It's a quote unquote gentleman's game. And I think that oftentimes in life, we don't recognize that we too are keeping our own score. And we are describing what our life is to others. Most people in golf, Tommy, they'll tell you about their greatest round. Very few people are telling you about their worst rounds or their regular rounds. So we live life in golf talking about our best rounds. And so you might assume that people are much better than they are. I would say to you that in many ways, we look at people's lives on social media. We're looking at either their best lives or their Photoshop lives. People are not putting their regular, ordinary life on social media. So you
Come on, Eric.
can't be distracted by people telling you about their best round, when in fact, their average round is worse than their handicap.
Ooh, that was a dagger, right? Not even on social media, Eric, but I want to, in the same vein, we're in the season of galas, proms, festivals,
Right.
right? All these show up, dolled out,
Right.
right? And this is sometimes people's best.
Right.
They're Sunday's best,
That's right.
right? And everything that glitters is not gold,
Right.
right? And so sometimes, as I'm listening to you, I may go to a gala and I see a lot of people who absolutely look like $1 million.
Right.
They look like success over and over and over again. And then when you sit down at the table with them and you get to learn a little bit more by their conversation, whatever they're sharing, oh, this person's average, right? I had put them on a pedestal. They came in looking like this, speaking like this. But when I talk to them, right, you can't, you having problems with your family? Oh, me too, right? Oh, you have a golf game and that you're not a professional golfer?
Right.
Neither am I. Or that you're feeling under the weather.
Right.
How about that, Eric? Right? And I want to stay there just for a second and then
Right.
keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
But sometimes, well, I'll just tell you flat out. Uh, I've been doing a lot of coaching with individuals, more on the kind of the life coaching and career coaching
Right.
than the performance coaching.
Right.
I am hearing more and more and more about folks who are uh, in their own lives playing, not at their best,
Right.
right? They are feeling a certain way,
Right.
okay? Feeling a certain way, and that they need a coach. They need a golf coach. They need
Right.
someone outside of themselves to say it, to tell them something. And I ask them, who's keeping score? Who's keeping score?
Mm.
Everybody gets sick every now and again, and at the end of the day, it's your game, how you playing it.
Mm.
Sure, we don't like cheaters,
Right.
right? But the the aspect of keeping your own score in golf translates uh, to right now on this hole, this moment, this event, I am one above par.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not my best. And then there's other days, Eric, other days that we hit the albatross, right? That is 2 and 3 strokes under par. If par is a 5, we get in the hole in 2.
Right.
It
Oh,
is a miracle,
that's a miracle.
right?
Right.
That's a miracle. And then every now and again, par 3, we get a hole in 1,
Right.
one shot. Keeping your own score is important for one to be honest with themselves
Right. Right.
at the end of the day. Yep.
I love that. Now we're going to try, Tommy and I are going to try to stay out of the weeds for you because we don't want to lose you. But here's the thing that I would say, that the handicap system is a system whereby you put your score into a computer and it generates your handicap. So, if 72 is par, then if you've got an 80, you're 8 over par. If you've got a 68, you're 4 under par. So par is considered like a perfect game. And so what happens is that in life, you want to get good scores in life. You want to get good grades in school. You want to get good scores in life. And golf, the ugly part about it is that you want a handicap that looks good. So if somebody asks you, you can say, hey, I'm a single digit handicapper. But what I had to do is realize that if I was going to be able to enter accurate scores, honest scores, because if I don't put in honest scores, then my handicap is not going to be reflective of anything. The way I got around to putting in honest scores, Tommy, is that I won no matter what score I got.
Mm.
So in other words, on the days that I played really good and I got a low score, I'm getting better. So I feel like I won. On the days that I played horrible, I'm putting in a big number. That means my handicap is going to come up to something that I could play to. So either way, I was a winner. And I believe that in life, you have to find some things to help you to make sure that you're delivering honesty to your daily life and how you're living life. Because whether you had a good day or bad day, being honest about that day is going to help you no matter what.
So I got a question to ask you, Eric, and it's not about you keeping your own score. It's about other people keeping your score.
Mm.
So when you're out there on the course, it's a par 4. Your stroke off the tee in the fairway, and then your second shot, you're 30, 40 yards away. Your third shot, you're within 15 feet, and you putt. You putt, and you miss it by just an inch, right? A little tap in, as we call it, and you tap in, and you go in and you write down. You see 1, 2, 3, and then and then a 15-foot putt. 4. Hey, that's a 5, right? My question is, you've been so focused on your,
Right.
just playing the game that you
Right.
literally lost count. How do you respond to the person who may be correct or incorrect,
Right.
but they're keeping a score on your life, your
Right.
game? How do you
Ooh.
respond to that?
So, Tommy, that's a good thing. So, first of all, I generally try to avoid playing with people that are going to keep my score.
Yes, sir.
So, I would say in life, you want to make sure that you're not hanging out with people that are spending too much time trying to judge your life. And I think that that's a problem for us, is that if you're hanging out with those type of people. Now, if I happen to be in a scramble or something like that where people are doing that kind of thing, then generally I'm going to try to do things to avoid confrontation. I can be confrontational,
Yeah.
but the older I've gotten, man, I just try to avoid it. Hey, man, thanks, whatever. because it doesn't really matter to me. And it actually makes them look smaller to
Yeah.
be trying to guard dog you on your thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great response. I love it. That's why I was reacting the way I was.
Right.
Um, uh, because
Let me give you
I
a
find
couple
myself.
others here,
Yeah,
Tommy.
go ahead. Yep.
Uh, let's see. Let's see. So one of the principles that I heard from a good friend of mine, John Camp, John Camp, we went to Summit Country Day together for a few years, and John was just a hero over there. People loved him. He was great in basketball, baseball, but he also was a golfer. Played football, but he also was a golfer before golf was cool at all. I mean, in the 70s. And I'm like, golf, man, what is you doing, man? It's a horrible sport, you know? And but he became a fantastic golfer. Was a pro golfer for a while, and he said to me all the time, Eric, always remember this: practice doesn't make perfect; it makes permanent. So whatever you practice, you're going to ingrain. And so if you are, practicing the wrong things, then you're going to ingrain those things. How does that translate to life, Tommy?
Ooh. Uh, First of all, that's a phenomenal concept, and that's kind of a concept or a paradigm shift, right? Or concept buster. I would say that uh, in athletics, it's also said that perfect practice makes perfect, but I prefer permanent, and permanent to a degree, Eric,
Right, to a degree, right.
to a degree, because I still think that when you are practicing something over and over and over again, creating that uh, habitual response, that habit becomes permanent as long as it is allowed to continue.
Right.
So if you disrupt that permanency, disrupt that habit, then you can create a new permanent
Mm,
behavior or
mm,
thought, right? You can have that shift. And so oftentimes when we're practicing and those things that we practice become permanent, it's it's a comfort zone. It's a
mm.
comfort in our mind.
Right,
It's muscle memory.
right,
It's comfortable.
right,
But when we are really trying to improve as an individual, as an organization, we acknowledge when we're comfortable, and then we assess the results from our comfort.
okay,
If
okay,
we haven't improved in the golf game,
right,
life, or in business, then we need to practice a different thing to have that become permanent, right? And
right.
that's how we adapt to change,
Mm,
right? For me on the golf course, as you were just sharing that, I'm thinking there are absolutely things that I've practiced time and time and time again that have become permanent, and I have no coach telling me different, except the results are not good,
right,
right? I'm still slicing going into the water.
right,
So my mind is saying go the other way, but my permanent practice is saying
right,
you're still going to do the same thing,
right,
right? So in that case, I may need someone outside, and that's why I love golfing with you, Eric, that you share feedback with me in a way that I can receive it.
right,
Right?
right.
I,
That's right.
right? I don't want to be told
No,
everything
uh-uh.
because I don't take it that serious. Just something to consider, right?
Right,
Throw a little joke in there.
right,
All right,
right,
right. It went right. You almost hit that into the next subdivision. Okay, what should I do?
right,
Just turn
right,
your body a little bit,
right.
and that's what I start to practice to make that new behavior permanent.
So that's another point I was going to make. So in golf, part of the challenge in golf is that you can't see your own body.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
literally, you don't know what you're doing other than what you think you're doing and what it feels like you're doing. But actually, in golf, you need a third party, a second party to really take a look at you. And you've added some things. You want that person to be a reputable person that is interested in your best interest, that they have some insight, and that they're willing to slow down enough. They're not so eager to give their feedback that they're not assessing you and what is going to work best and feel best for you, and literally whether you want that insight or not. All of those factors have to be considered. I would say that in life, Tommy, too often on the job, in the workplace, we're making horrible moves and we can't see ourselves. We need that third party, man, to see us. But that third party has to be somebody who's honorable and somebody who's humble and kind to be able to give us feedback about how we're showing up because we can't see ourselves.
Can't see ourselves. We think we are looking at ourselves,
Right.
and for most of us, Eric, we do look at ourselves. That's
Right.
in the morning when we're brushing our teeth.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
And in the
Right.
evening. That's
Right.
when we're actually seeing ourselves. In
Right.
the morning, in the mirror, at night, in the mirror. Everything in between, we're not really seeing ourselves.
Right.
And so sometimes we may want to ask a few people.
Right.
You know, the language that we're using now is, how are you showing up?
Mm-hmm.
Right? The question is, how are other people viewing us showing up?
Right.
Right? Yeah,
Right.
yeah, because we're out there on the golf course all day, but I'm looking from the outside. This is not a golfer,
Right.
right?
Right.
In fact, I'll share this. Even yesterday morning when I went golfing, Eric, this Friday morning,
Uh-huh.
I was golfing with a retired medical doctor, Dr. Snyder.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Snyder and I met years ago. Real nice guy. He's in his early 90s, and I enjoy his company.
Mm-hmm.
Right, older Jewish gentleman. I enjoy his company thoroughly. We had another two people join us, a father and a son combo, and the son was a senior at a local private Catholic college. I'm sorry, high school, and he played lacrosse.
Okay.
Lacrosse, and the son constantly talked about, in a joking way that, um, he wasn't playing that well. And I was looking at him like, this boy is an athlete.
Right.
You know, when you can see an
Oh
athlete,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Oh, I'm like, you don't golf at all. He says, well, I play lacrosse. I'm on full scholarship to play lacrosse in college.
Mm.
I say, it's going to be easy for you in your downtime to translate these skills into golf. I'm on the outside, Eric.
Right.
You got everything,
Right.
right?
Right.
His father was giving him quick little pointers. He was making quick adjustments, and it just looked different. I'm
Right.
like, he's all of 17 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So again,
I
I
love that.
wanted to connect that story
Right.
because if you allow someone from the outside to take an honest look and
That's
you
right.
receive that honest feedback,
Right.
we can change if we're 70, 17, 77, 13, or 98. We still have the propensity
Mm.
to change
Right.
when we receive positive, constructive,
Right.
non-malicious
Right.
feedback.
That's excellent. So I'm at the driving range last night, and I'm watching this father and his 6-year-old son. And it's adorable to watch him. And the little boy is taking the club and he swings at the ball. He ain't even thinking, man. He's moving his feet and everything and hitting the balls. And they're just
Yeah.
going out there, just having a ball at it. And his dad has got a horrendous slice. And so usually I would leave people alone, man, especially when he's out there with his son, is a big kid, a young father. And I asked him, I said, and he was slicing all of them. I said, would you like to know why that happens? He said, absolutely. And so I gave him some insights, Tommy. And Tommy, literally, he appreciated those insights. But for a long while, he wasn't doing anything different.
Uh-huh.
And literally, he'd hear me. I'd say it to him. I said, now you have to turn your shoulders and you have to get that club more inside. I said, you're coming over the top, Tommy. And he never, until you take the deep breath and make a decision that I'm going to release what I've become comfortable with.
Come on,
You
Eric.
can never get to success if you're not willing to take a different road. And so I think that that's the way it is in life, man, is that we can never get to success if we keep doing the same old things that have us stalled on the side of the road.
That's a great example. And I think that with his change, potentially, he will share that with his younger son. And
Right,
not just about the golf swing,
right,
right? About life, because we're connecting this from golf to life. Absolutely.
right,
That's wisdom,
right. He
right?
said,
Generally,
let me videotape you. He said, because you're doing it right. He said, and then in my down times when I'm at home, I'm going to pull out that video. Wow. And take a
wow.
look at you. So sometimes, Tommy, we need examples of people in our lives that when our life has gotten off track, that we can identify who are the examples that I can take a video recording of who they are and how they've operated so that I can plug that in. And there are times that that's Tommy Lewis for me,
Yeah.
that I take out and I put in the tape of Tommy Lewis. Sometimes that's Terry Cooley. Sometimes that's Dr. Reggie Crane. Sometimes that's Judy Ellis. That I'm taking out the tape of Judy and what would she do and what I hear her voice sometimes, and it runs back like videotape for me. And I say, wow, I'm going to think about that differently because I can hear Judy saying, these kind of things. Make sure you look things over. Make sure you give it the amount of detail. Make sure that you're checking references. Just all those kind of tapes that we have in our lives that we can go look
Oh,
at if we need to.
oh, you're preaching this morning, Eric. Preaching. I'm listening too. I'm receiving it. I'm receiving it. I need to. I need to revisit the tapes of my late father, late mother, and the many, many, many laughs and family gatherings.
Yep.
And I
Yeah.
say that because
Yeah.
at the
Woo.
beginning of our show today, I talked about my father introducing me to golf, right? And in this moment today, the last several years, I may not have laughed as much as he did, particularly at the latter years of his life. He was lighter. He wasn't taking a lot of things seriously. He
Right.
was just, it was all about for my father eating with family,
Right.
laughing, and
Right.
hanging out with his people,
Right.
right?
Right.
He would tell you he didn't care about stuff anymore. Literally, hey, this is what's happening. I don't care. You know, it
Oh,
would
this is the
land.
life. I got it now. I got it.
I got it. You know,
Enjoy life.
it's so enjoy life. So going back to the tape, I need to remind myself about the pleasure of laughing. That is one reason why I enjoy going out with Eric Ellis to golf,
Right.
right? Uh, Oftentimes we're not even keeping score,
Right.
right?
Right.
Oftentimes, we know the strokes and everything.
Right. Right.
And I'll speak particularly, Eric. There's some courses that you and I go out on that there's a hole or two that it's my nemesis,
Right. Right.
right.
All of us have
So
that. Right.
when I get to that hole, I want to beat this one,
Right.
right? And oftentimes beating it for me is par,
Right.
right? And when I get a par, great. A couple of times I've gotten a birdie on
Right.
my nemesis hole,
Right.
right?
Ooh.
And then I translate that over to life
Right.
to say that even with my most difficult client, Eric,
Mm.
there's a moment that I'm reminded that I will, one, be successful
Right.
in this, and I can laugh, right?
Right.
I can be par doing a job, or sometimes do better than what they expected and what I expected. I'm winning,
Right.
right? And then get back to them the next day, and they like, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't. Okay, and then they say, well, you did that great. I'll take it. Let me
Right.
work on the next one. Let me work
Right.
on the next
Right. Right.
one.
It's powerful, Tommy. The other thing, another principle in golf that I found fascinating. I remember one of my very first golf tournaments. I was in Myrtle Beach, the World Ams. I'm there. When everybody leaves to the tee boxes, man, you feel like this could be my greatest day in golf. So everybody goes out with that mentality, and they're, this could be the greatest day. And I'm competing against people from all over the world. And so it was my greatest day, Tommy, through 5 holes. Tommy. Then my wife called.
Oh,
My wife called. That ain't the problem. I picked up, Tommy. I'm in a
yeah,
tournament. I wasn't even supposed to have my phone out there. She calls me. I pick up. She fusses at me just a little bit. I'm going to blame it all on her. And then my round goes to the toilet, Tommy. Straight into the toilet. But here's the lesson in golf. The lesson in golf is that golf is about every single shot. You've got to be present in that shot. You can't think about the last shot. You can't think about your wife having called you. You can't think about the foolishness of you picking up that phone. You have to think about this shot. Whatever happened then is over. You can't think about the next shot. Golf is a very jealous game.
yes.
The ball requires your attention right now,
Yep.
only on this shot.
Yep.
In life, Tommy, that wouldn't have been a bad round if I was able to refocus on the current shots that were in front of me. No, I wasn't able to do that. I needed to have somebody to blame it on.
Yeah.
So I stayed there. And as long as I stayed in that place of past and blame, I could not move forward successfully.
Past and blame, Eric. Past and blame. I will tell you that myself included and many others, we are very familiar with as we look at ourselves, right?
Right,
This is keeping our own score.
right,
Past, things how they used to be, how
right,
they weren't,
right.
if, all the ifs, and then blame the others. As you said, golf is a jealous sport that demands your attention. The attention, Eric, is so focused that for those who are familiar with golf and the golf ball, to do very well, you have to literally focus on the dimples
Right.
of the ball.
A specific dimple.
Yep, a specific
Right. Not that
dimple.
you can see it, but it's going to take you
Yep.
from here to here.
To here, right? And so right there in that laser focused
Mm,
attention
mm,
is the perfection,
right,
right? You can be off a little bit, up, down, right, left, and it's still good as long as you have that narrow laser focus.
right.
Now, what that talks about, Eric, is the controllables and uncontrollables.
Mm,
Hear me now. If you're focusing on a dimple on a golf ball and you get so narrowly focused on that dimple, then the bird that is chirping in the tree,
right.
the squirrel that is running up the tree trunk, the other crowd and noises when people and golfers making the good round, good hole, good short, you don't even hear it.
None of that throws you.
It's
Literally.
silenced. Yep.
Mm,
So sometimes in our professional lives, personal lives, sometimes we have to get narrowly focused that we're not distracted
right,
by the noise
right,
outside of us,
right,
right?
right.
And that's what I love about golf as well.
Tommy, that's it. We can't think about the bad boss that we had in the past and
Nope.
how prejudiced they were.
Yep.
We can't be anticipating bias and prejudice in everywhere we go. Because if we look for it everywhere we go, we probably are going to find it.
Yeah.
You've got to live life right now. You've got to give your best effort to this here right now. Because if you think live in the past, or if you expect something bad in the future, both of those things can harm you.
Ooh.
We've seen it in sports. Coaches say when they start asking them, "This game ain't even over yet. What do you think about that?" No. We're not thinking about there. We're focused on this right here. And I think that those are philosophies, Tommy, that people need to be able to hold on to that we see in golf.
Eric, this is good for me. It may be great for people or good, whatever the case may be. Let me ask you, and this is a general question. When you see someone that you know or you haven't seen in a long time, whatever the case may be, and you ask the standard question, "Hey, how things going?"
Right.
And the response that you hear is, "I'm out here surviving." what what is that? What what is that saying? Because you just talked about not necessarily focusing on the past and you
Right.
can't really control the future. But when someone says, I'm just surviving, what could that mean? And then how, because I would like to be better than just surviving,
Right.
right?
That's right.
I want to keep a score to improve, etc. What does that mean and sound like to you?
So what has happened, Tommy, is we've locked our mentality in to a cliffhanger experience. We've literally reduced all of our life to I'm holding on to this cliff. And the reality is that if that's how I choose to see life, that's how life will be. But if I'm on the cliff and I say, hey, man, I'm on this cliff, boy, and the wind is blowing and my fingers feel strong today, man, and I can see over the cliff and they can't really see me that good. So I'm hiding out, you know. So, I mean, it's, oh, I'm sorry, but life can be what you make it, man. And if you choose to just put yourself in survival mode and be down about that, man, sometimes you gotta laugh at it and say, "Well, I got enough strength to hold on right now." And plus, they can't see me. There's a whole bunch of enemy coming, and I'm over this cliff. So I think that a lot of times, man, you can see the doom and gloom and the failure that has already encompassed their lives.
Yeah, that was great insight, Eric, because again, as you were sharing that response, in my mind, I'm connecting it to golf, right? When you go golfing, it's a culture,
Right.
right? There's certain repeatable taglines and responses, right? Uh, but oftentimes you don't hear golfers when they're out on the golf course talking about, well, I'm just out here.
Right.
No, you hear things like, at least I'm out here.
Right. Wow. Exactly,
Two different
Tommy.
things. Yeah, at least I'm out here.
Right.
We always talk about the course itself, how manicured it is, the grass, the trees, the ponds, the weather. Even when it becomes inclement weather, at least I'm out here.
Right.
It is a detachment from the real world, the reality. Golf is a rest haven, literally, for peace as well as frustration at
Mm,
the same time.
right.
But oftentimes, golfers prefer the peace and frustration of golf over the frustration of life itself.
Mm, that's right.
Golf allows golfers, as well as other people,
Right.
to better prepare for life,
I love
right?
that, Tommy.
Because if you get into life, you don't say, well, I'm just surviving,
Right.
right? You say things like, I'm good to be it's good to be seen
Right.
and it's good to see you, right?
Right.
You say things like, things could be better and they will be,
Right.
right?
That's right,
You don't
Tommy.
just leave it at things can be better and I'm going to remember the past how bad they were so that the future is just as bad. No, no. I am alive, right? Things are not perfect, sure, but wait until tomorrow. And
Mm,
I'm going to be laser focused today to make that optimistic tomorrow happen.
right.
Golf is the same way. I had a terrible round. I shot a 91. I shot 110,
Right.
right? I didn't even finish the round.
Right.
Wait until the next time.
That's right. That's right, Tommy.
Yeah.
And I'll add to that. Oftentimes we see people when they're playing golf and they start and their aspirations of my best round ever. When the round starts going down, many of them pull out the beer and they start chugging it. And they literally just get drunk out there on the golf course so that they can hide from the pain of defeat.
Ooh.
But you and I, we ain't trying to numb the defeat. We're not even trying to numb the pain.
Nope.
We do a couple of things. We reposition ourselves. In other words, okay, I got 2 holes left. Let's see if I can rectify some things. Let's see if I can focus in and at least walk away with some insights that may help me. Or forget golf. Man, we out here. Hey, Tommy, man, we are out here, bro. Ain't you glad we don't have to do this for a living? Oh my goodness. And enjoy the game. So we do things that take a bad situation and turn it into something that we can still appreciate and enjoy. We're not trying to numb ourselves from it. And I would say in life, you're going to find yourself with defeats. Don't do crazy things that to try to numb the pain of mistakes, shortcomings, and failures. They come with life. And so you've got to be able to just reposition and know that the next day, the next situation, the next decision could turn things around. You could learn some things from that you make sure that you don't have to repeat that again. Or those are some of our best stories in all of our life, Tommy, is some of our worst defeats and some of our toughest moments. Those are our greatest stories of resilience.
I think my last closing words for today, Eric, and it's been a beautiful conversation as it relates to golf. Oftentimes when I go golfing, just like you, Eric, and you've been golfing many, many more times and many more years than I have, that I enjoy golfing by myself.
I do too.
And I do that a lot, right? And it allows me to work on myself,
Yeah.
to understand myself, and even more importantly, to understand nature, right? Like you said, that there are some things that happens on the golf course that are serendipitous. It's very interesting. And so I would like to close by inviting anyone that has ever turned the channel to a golf tournament and then quickly turn the channel away from it.
Right.
To just come out on the golf course.
Right.
Come out on the golf course. I'm talking about people of color, women, those with particular disabilities.
Yes.
Right. I would tell you that golf as an industry, they're becoming more and more acceptable of the difference.
Right.
And it's up to us to say, we're here. We're not trying to overtake anything.
Right.
Right. But I am honored and privileged to be respected at this thing. And what does that is? What is that? That's I see myself here enjoying my time, enjoying the camaraderie with other people. And then for most of us, we pay to play.
Right. Right.
So I'm paying, right?
I love that.
And so that's why I would like to lead folks. Come on out to the golf course as we get back away from the COVID pandemic, starting to see each other. Come out, have some good times.
Right. And my final word about golf is this, that golf does not take kindly to arrogance. The better you get at golf, if you start believing too much of the press, it will trip you up every single time.
Yeah.
And so the best attitude that you can have about golf is to be willing to be a lifelong learner and to enjoy the moment. So that's what I would say to people in life. Never get too excited about successes. Just keep living life as a lifelong learner, because I'll tell you that the ball will ultimately concede itself to knowledge and understanding. You just got to keep going after it. So thank you all for joining us today. Tommy, you have a great time in Florida, man. And I'll see you next week when we'll have another one of these wonderful diversity conversations. Thank you.
Love you.
Bye now. Love you too, man.